Peace and blessings, y'all. Welcome to Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. I'm the Exposer, Ajani Bakari. We are live on the GOAT James Kingdom channel right here on YouTube. So you guys go ahead and make sure you hit the subscribe button, you hit the like button, you share the content, and you also hit the ring notification. Don't forget to also check out the GOAT James Kingdom membership, where we have different perks for all our members depending on your level. But we would like to thank you, and I would like to thank you for joining us tonight. As we come out Friday nights with the Ajani right here. I'm here for everybody. I got a lot of detractors that love to try to talk to me on Facebook, TikTok. Shout out to everybody that is on Facebook, everybody that is on TikTok, all our Twitter accounts, all our Instagram folks. Because as you guys know, Go James Kingdom, we do this every week. We'll be live Sunday again, Brandon and I, with a new topic to talk about the GOAT conversation in basketball. But tonight it's going to be about me. I'm going to put the link up for anybody who's interested in joining the panel here, and we can have a nice one-on-one discussion about anything you want. But tonight I want to discuss my criteria, okay? And because I posted my top 10 to Sports Fluent on TikTok. If you guys don't know who Sports Fluent is, he is on Player's Choice. He has a show with Chilltown, and he has been going back and forth with I about the GOAT conversation and different things that we post. And he recently had asked for me to post my top 10 list, and I gave him my top 10 list, and he decided he wanted to he wanted to go in on my list. And then I explained to him what my criteria was, and from there it led to more conversations, more talk. So at the end of the day, my criteria for me, I feel this is objective as possible. I always tell people I try to be objective, and when I say be objective, that means I'm not going off of my personal preference. I'm not going off of what I feel things should be, nor am I trying to give any one particular player or something an advantage over another because of my preference. I try to be objective as possible, meaning I try to be as neutral as possible. But some people can't do that when they talk basketball. They have an issue doing it. That's something that doesn't come natural to them when we talk about basketball. But I have my criteria here, okay? And this was the criteria that I posted on our TikTok, explaining how I ranked my players, because I gave them my top 10 list. And I will go over my top 10 list here shortly, but this right here is basically the list. I mean the criteria for my list. So if you look to the left, what you see there is the stats ranking. I basically took the rankings of a player. So if you would rank number one, like LeBron James is ranked as the number one, all-time scoring leader, he gets 25 points for that. The guy who's ranked second gets 24 points, and third gets 23 points, and so on and so forth, all the way till you got to the 25th slot. So that's how you got scored for your statistical position. And then if you look to the right, you'll see the accolades. What up, Jay? What's good? If you look to the right, you'll see the accolades. Now, the accolades is, like I said, it could be biased because it's based off of what I think is the most objective way of ranking or grading, the accolades. Everyone says championships are number one, so I put championships at the top. Now, I didn't want to give somebody too much points for being a championship compared to being an MVP or an all NBA player, so I made sure I kept it within a close range. That's why I started it with 5 points. And then from there, we go down the line. You can see MVP, All NBA, All Defensive Selection, the Finals MVP, the All Star selections, Defensive Player of the Year. The seasonal leaders as far as your scoring champ, your rebounding champs, and block champs, and then Rookie of the Year and All Star MVP ended off the last little thing that you can get some points for. So yes, make sure y'all hit the likes, man. Shout out to Primo. What's good, y'all? I see everybody here. Mr. Unknown, what's good? What's good, man? Peace and blessings, y'all, man. Hopefully, y'all having a good Friday night. Everybody's enjoying their Friday. It's all love here in GOAT James Kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm coming for folks because some folks don't know how to talk basketball, man, and it gets frustrating. It gets really frustrating talking basketball with people. And my criteria, like I said, man, my criteria was put up because, like I said, I want to be objective. I want to be able to put some real numbers to the things that I say. And like I said, I think I did a good job. Now, some people did say that the ring shouldn't have been put up so high, that I should have put the rings lower because it was a team accomplishment. It wasn't an individual accomplishment. Some people wanted the MVP, the finals MVP, placed higher. Um, I could have done that. You know, I really could have done that. What up, twin man? What's good, bro? What's happening? What's good? What's good? What's good? I mean, I could have done that. I could have done that, but I want to know what y'all think. Where would y'all rank the accolades? Because I've asked the people on Facebook, and you know, people love to comment about stuff when I say stuff, but then when I ask them legitimate questions, I don't get no answers. So y'all, that's in the comments now, man. All y'all, man, y'all let me know how y'all would rank it from the most important accolade to the least important accolade. Um, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't see what's the beef here. And then like I explained to Sports Fluent, there's nothing here about my list as far as the criteria that you can say I'm basically doing it to favor LeBron James. Because the rings is the number one thing. We all know LeBron James don't have the most rings. So if you're ranking all the players of all time and you're giving everybody 5 points for each time they win a championship, someone like Bill Russell has 55 points alone just for being a champion 11 times. Michael Jordan would have more. Jordan would have 30 points. You know what I'm saying? LeBron would only have 20 points for being a four-time champion. MVP is the same thing, and MVP is an honor. It's the biggest honor you can get. Uh, the All NBA team, I feel is a great honor. Jordan fans don't like to talk about the All NBA team because Jordan doesn't lead in the All NBA first team, nowhere near it, nor does he lead nowhere near in All NBA. So they never talk about that. They hate to talk about that. Peace and blessings, Rose. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me, man. Um, but as you can see, man, we have a lot of detractors, but they don't never want to step up to the plate. So that's why I came up with the Friday night exposure so that we can talk basketball, man, because these guys don't want to talk basketball. All they want to do is basically name call and talk about people. What's good, Crash? What's good, Crash? Again, the links in the comment, brother. Hit the link, and I'll let you come in. I know you wanted to talk to me about Wilt Chamberlain. I'm ready to talk about Wilt. Um, Shout out to everybody. Make sure y'all hit the like button, the share button. We are on Facebook Live as well. All right. We're also live on my channel, which is Ajani Bakari. So shout out to everybody that support me, that supports what I'm doing. As y'all can see, we're trying to build something here, man, because the basketball world needs to change the conversation. Because you know what? I have yet to get any one of these Jordan fans to show me a criteria like I just posted. I have yet to see one. Just give me one criteria. Just give me something, anything at all. Just give it to me. I mean, anything. Let us see how you graded Michael Jordan as the greatest player of all time. Um, they can't do it. They really can't do it. Uh, it's just crazy. But by basically the way I put that ranking together, that ranking system basically allowed me to come up with my top 25 list. All right. So when I'm going to show y'all my top 25 list so that y'all can see it now. All right, now this is my top 25 list. Let me make it a little bit bigger for y'all. And this is why they got upset, because I got LeBron James number 1, I got Wilt Chamberlain number 2, and I got Jordan number 3. So obviously, that's already going to spark controversy because I don't got Jordan at least number 2, right? We talked about this with Chris Broussard was upset with Nick Wright. So I got Bill Russell 4th, and then I got Kareem 5th. Now Kareem could easily jump up and be 3rd, and in reality, he should be 3rd behind Wilt Chamberlain. But because of certain things Michael Jordan did and Kareem having some help more than other people, I put Kareem 5th, and then I got Tim Duncan. I got Dr. J, which is another person that a lot of people sleep on. But if you count Dr. J's ABA's career and his NBA career, it's illustrious. He deserves to be in the top 10. You got Kobe Bryant after that. If you want to put Kobe ahead of Julius, I can see you doing that. But I think Julius was the better player than Kobe. Then we got Magic. Then we got Bird to round off my top 10. Now, what happened with Sports Fluent was he thought that he could come at me with the stats and accolades because I gave him my criteria, and he tried to put John Stockton ahead of Magic, which was completely hilarious. Shout out to Zero. What's good, Zero? Peace and blessings, y'all, man. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for joining me on the Friday night exposure. Um, Nobody wants to get exposed tonight, and I'm not even trying to really expose nobody. I just want to talk basketball and get some things cleared up. Like, as you guys can see, Sunday show gets packed. We got a full lineup. Shout out to Ralph, shout out to Craig, shout out to Travis, and everybody else that shows up on Sunday's program because we got a good thing going on Sunday afternoons. So, you guys be supporting. Appreciate everybody, man. Thanks a lot. Um, but my top 25 is there. Don't ask about Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant and all those players. They don't make the top 25 yet. They still have a whole career that they have to actually put together before they can reach my top 25 list. And once they're done, I'm quite sure they'll be there. But for now, I'm not going to worry about them because every year I would have to change it. Depending on what they accomplish each season that they keep playing. You know what I'm saying? So as an example, before this year, Stephen Curry would have been like 24th or 25th on my list, and he probably would have jumped up because he made the All NBA team. You know what I'm saying? So Kevin Durant would have, he didn't even make the All NBA team, so he probably wouldn't have. But his stats got better. He did show out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's good, man. Defensive Player of the Year should garner more points, in my opinion. No doubt about that. Can you put up the list again? Sure. I'll put up the list again. I'll put it up. Let me get it up for you here. So you say it should get more points. All right, but forget what point it should get. Where do you rank it at? Where? Because again, I wanted to make sure all the accolades had all accolades had their own separate points. So let me show it to you here. You can see it here, Adrian. So there you go, Adrian. That's the list. Where would you put defensive player at? Right now, it gives you 2 points. Where would you place it at? Would you put it above being an all-star? Because it's so funny because all these the detractors for LeBron, they don't never put Draymond Green in front of any one of LeBron's teammates. And Draymond Green won Defensive Player of the Year, but Bosh is an all-star, and Kevin Love is an all-star, and Mo Williams is an all-star, and Big Z is an all-star. They're great players for making the all-star team, but Defensive Player of the Year, Draymond Green, nah, that's not a big issue. You know what I'm saying? Dwight Howard, Defensive Player of the Year, that's not an issue. So I always wonder why people want Defensive Player of the Year so high. In fact, how many players in your top 10 actually have a Defensive Player of the Year award? Definitely above All-Star. But think about that. Think about what I just said. What player do you put above an All-Star because they're Defensive Player of the Year? Are you making Marcus Smart better than Chris Bosh, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving because he was a Defensive Player of the Year award? I just had a conversation on TikTok today, and people were dismissing Giannis' defense after Giannis was Defensive Player of the Year in 2020. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I say. That's why I say let me put the link back up for you. That's why I say it's all based on biases. You guys want to basically give certain things credit because of Michael Jordan. It has nothing to do with nothing else. It's the same thing with the list. Same thing with the list with the scoring title, right? The scoring title seems to be the most important statistical stat leader, but y'all don't like to count assist leaders. Y'all don't like James Harden was the assist leader this year, and people were talking about James Harden had a bad season. How? He led the league in assists. He won the assist title. You see what I'm saying? So it's like y'all are biased. Y'all pick and choose when you want something to work for you. You know what I'm saying? And when it don't work for you, like right now, it don't work for you that the Defensive Player of the Year only gets you 2 points. That it's not as good as being an all-star and all NBA and all defense. You want to give Jordan more points for winning Defensive Player of the Year one time. I mentioned this on our show before. What's it called? The guys who have the most Defensive Player of the Year are nowhere near the top guys on your all-time lists. Nowhere near. Y'all let me know if the link is popping up in the comment section so I can send it out. Let me try to put this up. Yeah, I got the link up. I don't know if it's going through yet. Y'all let me know if the link is up on the page, on the showing up in the comment section. No doubt, no doubt. Appreciate that, King John. What's good, brother? Scoring titles mean nothing to you. Well, you'll be the first Jordan fan I ever heard say that. Excuse me, folks. You would be the first Jordan fan I ever heard say that. For Jordan fans, scoring titles is everything. It's not showing yet. All right, let me it's supposed to show there. How is it not showing? Let me see here. All right, let me try this, y'all. Give me a second. All right, excuse me, y'all. I'm going ahead and put this in here. All right, there go the link. The link should be there now, so anybody can join. Exactly right. You're right. MJ fans love scoring titles. In fact, talking about scoring titles, Brandon and I are going to we're gonna change it up. We're gonna change it up. We're gonna create our own top 50 list, and we're not gonna add scoring titles. We're not gonna add assist titles and things of that nature because we don't think it's actually necessary, especially if we're already adding stats. What up, Crash?
Yo, what's up, Ajani, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. I can hear you very
Yo,
well, man. What's good, bro?
salute GJK, man. Glad to be on here again.
Yeah, man.
And
What's good, man? What's good, man? So, what you think about my criteria, man?
could you tell me again? Cause I came in like a little halfway in, and then I started listening while I was like tied up, so I didn't get to see the little meme or whatnot.
All right, so yeah, let me pop it up for you right quick. Let me pop it up for you then. All right, so that's the criteria right there. So basically, you got regular season averages and totals, which are blocks, points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals, and where you rank at in those positions. So like I said, if LeBron James is, number one, he gets 25 points to be number one in that category, and whoever's number two get 24 points all the way down to you get to the 25th guy, which you'll get 1 point for being in last place.
You made it logical.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, you gotta be logical. You gotta be sensible. Because like I tell people, it's very easy for me.
Well, not everybody can be logical.
No, I'm just saying, but that be my problem with basketball fans. Yeah. It's like, come on, man, let's be logical. Let's talk about it in a logical sense. Let's be real. Like I said, if Jordan's really the GOAT, then put up a grading system. Let's see if everything Jordan accomplished is really greater than everybody else's.
I mean, you know how they only can speak. They only can speak with narratives. I keep it fairly simple. I tell people my criteria is peak and longevity, plus a little bit of extra stuff to it. Some stats but like after a while, I just remove it. I'd be like, you get a couple of MVPs and your stats are a little at a certain place. I'd be like, all right, I could remove it and I wouldn't care so much. But I look at it as peak and longevity, and people get mad when once I say peak and longevity, I rank LeBron number one because it's like, bro, like you can't argue it. It's Jordan probably has the number one peak. Cool. He has that number one peak. LeBron got the number two peak with the number one longevity, while Jordan has like what, number 20 through 16 longevity? Like, you can't argue with facts. Even if best and greatest is not even the same thing. Even if people say, oh, Michael Jordan was the best basketball player, cool. He could be the best, but he's not the greatest. He was not the greatest basketball player, and best and greatest is not the same thing.
Well, if
So
he's the greatest, you got to show it. Give us some kind of criteria. Show us how he's the greatest player of all time. You have to show it. You can't just say it. Because you see, and even I want to ask you about the peak thing, because that was something that was brought up on TikTok today. When does somebody's peak start and end for you, Crash?
I would say it's a little difficult. It's a little difficult to judge because you kind of gotta really look at the game and see, because numbers don't really tell you at all. But mostly I say when both ends on the floor. Not even really both ends, because some people peak on offense and they just don't play defense at all, like how KD and Steph Curry do. But a person like LeBron, I would say a peak probably lasts about 5 to 4 years, 5 at max. But like 5 to 4 years, then you got your prime, your tail end primes and stuff like that. So that's how I view it.
Okay. So yeah, you know what I mean? King John said your prime would be from 28 to 32. Um, I did a prime
Well,
or
age wise, yeah,
age
yeah,
wise.
age
That's
wise.
that's what the age is. But I did this thing about the peak, and when I did it, people were mad because I made the peak from when you first made your first All NBA team, so you made your last All NBA team. So people like
Well,
LeBron had like an 18-year peak. They were upset.
I mean, if you want to be nasty, you could. You feel me? You could, because LeBron's been playing prime basketball for like 19 years. If I'm being realistic, all right, like 18 years, he's been playing prime basketball. Like he's been in conversations of like the best player in the NBA for like 18 years. Now, if I'm talking about his peak, LeBron James' peak is, I feel like, when he got to Miami. He started revving up when he was in Cleveland, but his jump shot wasn't really there yet. When he got to Miami and he picked up his defense, he picked up his offense. He started showing. He started getting a little bit more into his bag. That's when I was like, all right, yeah, his peak is here. And the reason I don't like using accolades is because we know writers get really sentimental and nostalgic about players. Like, it makes no sense that LeBron is first team on defense and he's not a DPOY, but Marcus Gasol is second team on defense and he's a DPOY. Like, it made absolutely zero sense to me. So it's like, that's why sometimes I don't look at accolades and I don't be like, all right, well, this person got this person got that, because it it's so inconsistent. It's like so inconsistent.
Well, the thing about the accolades for me is you don't get an accolade without the stats. So
Oh
as
yeah,
long as you could evaluate the stats correctly, you know what I'm saying, you can understand why certain people want accolades. Now, obviously, there's biases. Like you said, the Marcus Gasol thing was kind of, that's an extreme bias, but that's how great LeBron is.
but
That
look how
he
extreme.
forces the media to create such a bias. So that you get that. You get
But
that.
look how extreme that bias is. The only person to ever win a DPOY finals and an MVP at the same season was Hakeem. Not even Jordan could have done it. If LeBron would have won it, that would have been something that everybody would have been sitting there like, oh, something But the
That's why they
writers,
didn't let him get it.
yeah,
That's
the
why they didn't
writers,
let him get it. That's
yeah,
why they
yeah.
didn't let him get
This
it.
is this is this is my take.
What up, Twin Man? What up? Go ahead, Twin Man. Let us have
What
it.
up?
What's good,
The
man?
salute, brother.
So
Salute, brother.
what's up, boss?
Go
Peaks
ahead,
can be
bro.
very subjective because you have some people who will say your peak starts when you make the playoffs and when you consistently don't make the playoffs. There are other people who will sit here and say your peak starts when you win your first championship. So I think it's really hard to say where you peaked. Now, this is my subjective take on it. I believe Jordan came in peaking. LeBron came in really peaking, like at the top of their games already. They had little holes, little. Jordan wasn't really he really wasn't a team player. LeBron's jump, as Crash said, his jump shot wasn't really there, but they came in on 10. You see what I'm saying? They came in NBA ready. It was little development to get them to where they needed to go. I
Okay.
think the illogical takes from Jordan fans come from, like Crash said, the nostalgia. Because if you're sitting here saying 2 3 peats makes you the GOAT, how do you sit here and you overlook someone going and winning the championship 8 times in a row? Like, that's completely overlooked to just sit here and say these two, and the logic they'll use is, well, he lost, but he won 8 in a row.
No, but my question is, how does one loss trump 5 more championships?
Right.
Or the whole 8-0 scenario? Like that, what one NBA and Michael Jordan would have went to the finals in 1990 and lost in 1990, but then went to those 2 3 peats back to back. Would they still be screaming about the one loss? And you know what I'm saying? Would the 3 peats be now not nothing because he had lost the one time. It's like they only use what's their result based. Everything is off of what already happened. So they can,
So
yeah. It's
I've
crazy.
also wondered why you can't use statistics to try to basically come up with a list in the game based off numbers and statistics. You know what I'm saying? Like if they sit here and say Jordan's the greatest scorer of all time, and you sit here and say, well, no, he's not. The all-time leading scorer is LeBron James. They'll sit here and say, well, he averaged 30 points a game. You're right,
You,
but he still
what
doesn't have more points than LeBron James.
you know
And
you know what it
to average 30, you have to take his total to do it. You have to take his total games played to the total points scored to get his average. So at the end of
Right.
the day, the totals is
So
really
you have to use the total at the end of the day. And then, so somebody like me, when I hear that, I say, cool, what else is Jordan top 10 in? And it's hamana, 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 hamana.
well, he top 10 in steals in both totals.
Yeah, but steals. I'm not gonna sit there and say that
Now
Jordan wasn't a
steals
good
matter.
defender.
Steals
But
matter.
yeah, they matter, but it doesn't really correlate to good defense. Because AI he was great at stealing the ball, but I'm pretty sure most people that watch the game gonna sit there and say AI wasn't a good defender. He played the
Right.
passing lane a lot, so it's like
It,
Jordan
it,
played the
it
passing lane
just
a
kills
lot,
me.
but the thing is that he
I feel like
succeeded in
people
playing the
go,
passing lane.
hey, Johnny, people go to the extremes
Uh-huh.
to discredit greatness. Think about it.
No, Jordan fans do that. That's what people don't understand. It's a Jordan thing. It is a Michael Jordan thing. This is the thing that I've been trying to bring to light the whole time on Goat James Kingdom is that we are, even when you're not a Michael Jordan fan, you are still talking in the Michael Jordan sense because it saturates the entire basketball world. See what I'm saying?
Like,
And I'm gonna bring you back up in a minute, Crash.
think about it, bro.
Mhm.
What other sport do we diminish the people who played great for a long time? Tom Brady is the unchallenged GOAT right now. I think if Patrick Mahomes keeps playing the way he's playing, he might have a case
But when
and
did that
argument.
happen? But when did that happen for Brady? In the last 5, 6, 7 years, right? The last decade. When under
Right.
under
Tom
the
Brady played how many seasons?
exactly. Nobody brings that up. Nobody mentions it again because football is different. See, football fans are more subjective and passionate towards their teams more than the player, right?
Right.
And in basketball, it's the opposite. Basketball fans are more associated and more closely related and have a more subjective bond with a player more than a team. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
the idea is that the player reps the team. You see what I'm trying to say?
Right. No, I hear what you're saying, bro. It just kills me because now all of a sudden being good for a really long time is a bad thing because this one particular person did it. Like if this was Kobe and Kobe has been this dominant
Mhm.
for 20 years, well 19 years, what would they say?
Kobe was dominant for 20 years. They
No, he
don't
wasn't.
mention it.
We already know it. And towards the end of his career, he was not.
But I'm just saying he has a 20-year career. He's played in an umpteen playoff games. He has more points than Jordan, more rebounds than Jordan, assists than Jordan. He has an illustrious career. But they know
I'm talking about his production.
He was never a threat.
Towards the end.
But he was never a threat to Mike. He was
I
never
feel you, but this is what I'm just talking about the production. His production fell off a cliff, kind of. He was Kobe really Kobe in the last 2-3 seasons because of the injuries? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like LeBron's been consistent 27, 7-7 for 19 years straight, and somehow, some way, that shouldn't be praised. We look at players at the end of their career. Kareem was the all-time leading scorer. How many points was he averaging in the last season of his career?
Like 11.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. No, I got you.
Not only is he played a long time, he's playing at a high level. LeBron is still a top 10 player in the league at 19 years.
They don't want to give him that kind of credit. I don't know if he's going to go as a top 10 player going into next season, but
I don't know why not.
Going into this season, he was going into 2023. He was definitely.
Yeah, he was.
Let me answer Adrian right quick here. Adrian, you asked this question here about Michael Jordan. He said, "Hey Johnny, how about creating an all-time list and take Jordan out? I don't know what that means. I don't know why you guys feel like Jordan has to obviously be supreme or not be involved.
Right.
I don't get that. I see you have him third and possibly could drop him for Kareem. No, I said technically you could put Kareem in front of him because of just the accolades. If I'm not bringing up certain achievements and certain things Jordan did, like the 2-3-peats, and you know what I'm saying, the certain things that Jordan just did in his career. But how about a list without Jordan? What do you think? No, there's no list without Jordan.
There is no list. See, that's the extreme. There is no list. You can't have an all-time great list and Jordan not be on it.
I listen. I don't know what to say, man. Again, you guys bring it up. Adrian, you're a Jordan guy. Put a criteria together. It's simple. It's the rings. It's the MVP. It's the All NBA, the All Defensive Team, the Defensive Player of the Year, Finals MVP.
I believe, Johnny, I believe GOAT James Kingdom has the most objective criteria I've ever heard for the all-time greatest list. I'm being honest. I feel like y'all list is very objective.
They say we're biased. We're fanboys.
How are you biased? You can't be. The numbers speak for themselves. That's what I don't get. The numbers literally speak for themselves. You can't sit here and say somebody's biased because your favorite player's numbers don't match up. It just is what it is.
Well, that's what we deal with, and what makes it bad is like the reason we had to start GOAT James Kingdom was because we couldn't talk about the numbers in LeBron James and other groups. I'm talking about legitimate basketball groups. We weren't going to Michael Jordan groups, Chicago Bull groups, GOAT conversation groups to a certain degree. I would go to NBA groups that were for the NBA. And I couldn't post about LeBron James. I couldn't. It was like, yo, the admin themselves were suspending me.
That's insane, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, how are y'all suspending me? Like, I'm just talking LeBron James. Like, even if I'm making fun of Jordan, it doesn't matter. Like that, and that's another thing too. You can't say nothing bad about Jordan. You can't say nothing critical of Jordan ever. Oh my God, God forbid you say something about Michael Jordan.
I knew it was bad when I watched one of y'all episodes and y'all was talking about y'all hate mail, and I was like, damn, man, like how do you get so emotional over like somebody else or like sports? Like, damn, like that's crazy.
And you know what makes it crazy is that for me, right, the way they make it seem like Michael Jordan gives them this super confidence to be the person that they is, but then when you ask them to stand up and man up and show me how Jordan's the GOAT, they can't do it. They can't.
Per game. It's the per game. They look at that per game and they just be like, oh my God, look at that.
Even with that, they can't do it. Even with the per game, Michael Jordan does not have more than LeBron.
No, he don't.
But the crazy part is this. You have his own teammates now coming out talking about, like, people misinterpreted what Scotty was saying. When he said Jordan was a horrible player, he wasn't talking about his skill set. That's what I'm saying. He wasn't talking about Jordan's skill set. He was talking about how Jordan wasn't a team player, and that's why he had terrible team success. Period. That does make you a horrible player. If you're filling it up, but the team, because let's get to the bare bones of this. This is a team sport, and the pinnacle of any professional sport is winning a championship. Jordan was putting up 38 points a game, 40 points a game. Got it. What was that doing for your team? Nothing. So guess what? You're a horrible player. I'm not mad at Pippen for saying that. Jordan, what did he say? Jordan was a one-on-one player. What did that do for the team? Nothing.
Well, that's what people don't understand is that, again, when basketball was being watched at that time, no one was playing the game like Michael Jordan was trying to play the game. No one was trying to just go out there and score as much points as possible and didn't care about the game strategy, the team strategy. He was just like, I'm just going to do my thing. I'm going to go out here and do my thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what Jordan fans, but to them, that's what makes him so great, was that he was able to do that and change the game and all this other nonsense. But at the end of the day, what Scotty was Pippen wasn't just talking about the skill set, like you said, or even just the losing. It was the way he played the game. It was the fact Jordan didn't believe in teammates. Jordan didn't know how to be a good leader. He didn't know how to get the best out of his teammates. He didn't know how to play the game right. You know what I'm saying? Did any one of y'all two play chess?
Yes.
Okay. I imagine this, twin man. Imagine playing somebody who only uses the queen.
Right. That has no strategy.
No,
Not understanding you can sacrifice your queen and still win a game.
Listen, I'm talking about all they do is the queen. They're all over the place with the queen. The queen is trying to dominate the game. And again, we know the queen is the baddest, right? But it's not enough. It's a strategy that has to go behind it. You have to use your pawns. You have to use your bishops. You have to use your horses. You have to use your rooks. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Scotty was talking about. That's what Scotty was talking about.
Hey, Johnny, you mean your knights, right? Don't say your horses, bro. Your knights.
Your knights, horses, whatever people call them. I'm bad with names as is. But I got you. But your knights. But you get my point. That's what Jordan was. Jordan was your queen that could just, you know what I'm saying, go anywhere and do anything. But it wasn't going to win you the game, like you said. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know how to use your other pieces. And that was what Pippen was talking about. And Pippen was really upset because Jordan doesn't give his teammates enough credit for his success
at all.
Winning. Yeah.
He's a horrible teammate, man. Like how you don't interact with your teammates after you like retire. Like
the thing that bought you know what
I give him a pass for that. Jordan's a star. Jordan's a superstar. Jordan can't go normal places. He can't just be anywhere.
You want to know one of the things that bothers me the most when people talk about Jordan's team? Mm-hmm. They really pretend, and this is what I said, like I say this a lot. Like Jordan was out there playing 5-on-1. His team was trash. I'm talking about when he really got his team. His team was trash, and he just carried them. You had the best two-way player arguably ever. You had you got Rod Harper, who was a superstar over there with the Charlotte Hornets. They gave you the best international player at the time. You had statistically the best three-point shooters ever into Steph Curry and Klay Thompson on your team. They gave you the best rebounders. They gave you the best big men. They gave you a team, but somehow, some way, Jordan's team isn't a super team.
Hey, Turman, you know what's the problem? It's with everything that people, when they have these conversations about basketball, they don't look at the eras. In the 90s, the game was played on defense and physically at that.
Right. The best 3-and-D guys were on the Bulls. B.J. Armstrong, Paxton, Hodges. All those dudes was on the Bulls.
Even on their first day, right? Even on their first day when they had Horace Grant, he was a phenomenal mid-range shooter. So it's like you have shooters built around you, and nobody else in the league can shoot like you can and play defense the way you do. The skills in the 90s wasn't like how it was in the 2000s. So like people look at these games and they like, oh, Jordan, when he was winning, nobody ever scored 20 points. That's because they didn't need them to. They just needed them to play defense. Like Scottie Pippen to me, Scottie Pippen is the best wing defender of all time. He's the best wing defender of all time. And you can't tell me a person that's better than him. And he's probably the best perimeter defender of all time. Like I'll probably put him a top 5 best defender. So it's like you got the best defender with you on your team. Like I don't know why people overlook that. Like, and it kind of pisses me off every time they do.
No, they don't overlook it. They give Jordan the credit for it. They basically saying Jordan created Scottie Pippen. That's how they do it. And as an example, Adrian just asked here. He just said Scottie is the only one that can explain what he meant. With all due respect, I hear what you're saying, but I always ask y'all: did any one of y'all watch that actual interview? Did anybody sit there and watch it? You see what I'm saying? That'd be another thing about these dudes. They don't do the research. They don't take the time out to actually.
Can I address what was just said? That what the person in the chat just said. Actually, we can actually go off of what Scottie said, and no, he wasn't calling Jordan's skill set horrible. He was talking about his style of play.
Well, King John explained it well. Well, basketball people knew what Scottie was saying. We understood exactly what Scottie was saying. We wasn't really thinking like he was saying Jordan didn't know how to play basketball. He was basically saying Jordan was bad for the game. He mentioned that before. He said that before Jordan, people would go to the court and play the game like Magic. Magic was the guy everybody wanted to be because not everybody could jump like Dr. J. But somehow Jordan made everybody believe they can be Jordan. Even though motherfuckers couldn't even jump. Motherfuckers was fat. Jordan had fat people thinking they all you had to do is put on his sneakers, bro. I'm telling you, he changed people's lives, man. I've seen it, bro. I'm telling you.
People got mad at Gilbert Arenas when he sat here and said Jordan played against a bunch of cokeheads and this, that, and the third.
How we know
And
they
that
go
those
there?
players, like those players in the 80s, would come to the 2000s and today and would dominate. If they can, guess what? They absolutely would. If you can clothesline people out the air, if you can pull people out the air, if there's no technical fouls at one like it was at that point, you absolutely right they would dominate. But
No,
if you're matching skill set for
yeah.
skill set, they're not gonna win. If they're gotta actually play basketball, I'm talking about actual basketball where you can't do any of that crap I just sat here and said. To sit here and say Jordan's era was tougher is ridiculous. The only reason why they say it is because of the physicality. But that's not basketball. It's just not.
Yeah, but go ahead, Johnny. You can go.
No, because I was gonna say because he go Adrian's here again. See, like I said, they could join the show and we could talk. He go, look, he's saying Michael Jordan gave Pippen his credit. He did, but at the same time, behind Scottie Pippen and them back, he
tossing shade.
He tosses shade. Isaiah Thomas said the same thing. He said, yo, Michael Jordan said he apologized for what he said on The Last Dance about him being an asshole. But he's saying it to other people behind doors. He was like, nah, you got to come out in public. If you really going to tell everybody else behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying, that you ain't mean it, well, say it in public because you said it in public. You ain't say it behind doors. Jordan knows his power. Jordan understands his power. He uses his influence very heavily. He understands how to manipulate the image, and he does it very well. He's very manipulative. He's one of the best, man. And he's throwing a lot of shade on Scottie Pippen, and not just Scottie Pippen, because Scottie Pippen said it's not about him. That's why I said y'all didn't even watch what Scottie Pippen said. He said it ain't really about me. It's about my teammates, how they've been discredited. He was talking about Will Perdue. He's talking about like Twin Man brought up Craig Hodges, PJ Armstrong, Stacey King. You see what I'm saying? Guys that were there with the Bulls in and out every day in practice. You know what I'm saying? Jordan don't give them no respect. He calls them cokeheads. How we know the team is snorting coke? Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I think John Sally and Rodman was agreeing with Pippen not so long ago. Like it was on somebody's podcast. I seen a video that they was like saying that he was right or whatnot. So
yeah, no, and that's another thing too. No other player has come up to really say Scottie Pippen is bugging. Only person that came out was Scott Williams, and his only thing was he saying he don't understand why Scottie Pippen is doing that. But he ain't say like, yo, Scottie Pippen's wild and something's wrong with Scottie. He just don't understand why they can't get along because they want to have a reunion. They can't have a reunion. It's over now. It's a wrap.
Like, listen, when people love to say all the time, truth hurts. When the truth is said, people get upset because again, they get, like you said, they get into their emotions. It's, oh, you're trying to discredit this man. No, you can't take away what Jordan did for the game, what he did for the league. Players aren't getting paid the way they're getting paid today if there's no Michael Jordan. Let's be real. Like, I'm just gonna be real. You can't discredit what Jordan did for the game globally. But to sit here and pretend like he's the pinnacle and nothing can pass that is ridiculous.
that's the problem right there. That's the problem.
But if you want to make him the GOAT because of that, state that, right? Because I got somebody and I know people who state that about Michael Jordan.
Yeah, but that's cool. All right. Like
that's what I'm saying. But you have to stick with that. That you know what I'm saying? Like you just have to stick with that. You can't bring up stats and make it seem like it's the stats. Bring up the fact that it's the nostalgia. It's the fact that his nostalgia is greater than all nostalgia. Bring that up. That's fine with me. I can take that.
Yeah, I could accept it a little bit, but not on a. I'm not gonna respect you as a basketball mind. I'm not. You're not gonna tell me, oh, because he revolutionized the game and took it overseas and everybody. No, I don't. Like, cool. I'm gonna be like, all right, cool, that's it. But don't talk to me about basketball because if that's how you view it, it's like I don't know what to tell you. It's like I get it, cool. His game looked more smooth than LeBron. That's fine. But if you pick apart their game, he was not better at basketball than LeBron James. If you want to say who's a better one-on-one player, fine.
Yep.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But basketball is not a one-on-one game. It's a team
it's not
sport.
I've had people tell me that Jordan elevated his teammates. I said if he elevated Scottie Pippen and them, why couldn't he elevate his teammates before Scottie got there?
No, he couldn't. No, listen, he couldn't elevate Brad Sellers. He couldn't elevate Stacey King. He couldn't elevate Will Perdue. He couldn't elevate Horace Grant,
Couldn't elevate Charles Oakley. You couldn't elevate Robert Parrish.
Charles Oakley had a double season with Mike, so I'm not gonna go that far. But what's it called? Kukoc was another one. Kukoc would have been in Chicago way earlier if Michael Jordan was truly the leader that it was. If Michael Jordan was really just trying to win championships and trying to get whatever he can get to win championships, as far as whatever they can bring him, he would have accepted the Tony Kukoc. You see what I'm saying?
We gotta call a spade a spade. He came at the right time, you know, like he showed up in the 90s at the right time when Magic was about to leave and Bird was about to leave and players wasn't as skilled.
Part. I'm not going to even fake. If Jordan played in today's league, he probably would be putting up monster numbers. Would it translate to team success though?
I don't know if he'll put up monster numbers. I'm gonna be honest.
No, I really believe no. He put up our own crash. Only reason why I'm saying that is because he did play in a very physical era. Like they used to beat the hell out of each other in that.
He did, right? He did, right?
Mike would be like, Mike would be like Ja Morant. You see all those ridiculous moves Ja Morant be trying. You be like, Ja Morant's gonna try this. Ja Morant. That is what Jordan would be doing. He would be trying a lot of stuff that would get him hurt because there's more athletic players today that he would have to jump over. He's not gonna. It's no Mark Eaton's, bro.
It's like you got to take a lot of things into play, right? For one, the Chicago was an incompetent. Is an incompetent franchise. That's number one. They constantly make bad decisions. So he got lucky in the 90s with the competition and his franchise actually making a couple of moves that'll get him some places. I don't think if you remove Derrick Rose, right, and you put Michael Jordan in that spot,
they don't beat.
I honestly I don't see it, and it's for multiple reasons. Michael Jordan is a great passer. He's a phenomenal passer, but he's not a willing passer. His playmaking gets ducked for the simple fact that even if he brings gravity around him, he might not make the right reads. He might just do something. And it's like if you look at games, it's like when people be like, oh well, we seen Michael Jordan play against Kobe Bryant. He did not have Kobe Bryant's post game. I don't care what nobody tells me. Yes, he may have gave people his back and didn't take a jump shot, but Kobe Bryant was hitting you with his left shoulder, going under, spinning on you, hitting you with a fadeaway. He was doing multiple things in the post. Michael Jordan's post game was not refined like Kobe Bryant's, and his 3-point shot was not refined like Kobe Bryant. They may have had similar move sets, but he was not Kobe. So I do not see the same result. So personally, to me, I don't think he would have been putting up monster numbers. No, he probably would have been.
I think what people forget, to be honest with you, about Michael Jordan is that he was actually a big guard for his
team.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He was actually a big guy. There wasn't too many 6'5", 6'6" shooting guards in the NBA at the time that he was playing, especially when he joined the NBA in the mid 80s. There were less players around that time. You know
how tall was Larry Bird?
6'9".
You see what I'm saying?
6'9". You know what I'm saying? But no, I'm just saying, when you really think about the guards that Kobe had to go up against, you know what I'm saying? Like they were, even when they were not premier guards as far as a top player, superstar, you still had guards that were big, though they were still big guys. Like, Michael Finley, even guys even going into the 90s, like Kendall Gill joined the NBA.
How big Joe Jones? 6'3", 6'4"?
Steve Smith, you know what I'm saying? You had Clyde Drexler.
When people talk about the competition that Jordan had to play at his position, people get mad because people like, nah, LeBron at his position, or LeBron, this version of the NBA's competition is tougher. It just is. Like the teams, like I hear, because you've heard this before, the East was weak when LeBron was in it. That's why he ran it.
The East wasn't strong, but it wasn't weak. Like you still had.
Appreciate that, King John. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
I don't believe the East was. I tell people all the time, I don't believe the East was weak, and you still got to go through the playoffs, win the playoffs to get to the finals. Do you not? Yeah. So when I ask people, can you give me these extremely weak teams? They'll give me the weak teams, and then they'll leave out the D Rose Bulls. They'll leave out the Atlanta Hawks because Atlanta Hawks was good every year. They'll leave out the Toronto Raptors. They'll leave out the Indiana Pacers. And my thing is this.
LeBron's not the Washington Wizards.
Yeah, the Washington Wizards.
None of them were good to them. That's what they do. And with the real reason why they say the East is weak, and I can see where they're coming from, but like I said, it's a disingenuous argument because what you're saying is it's weak because supposedly the West was so strong. You see what I'm saying? They're comparing it to how the West was around that time. It doesn't mean that the East didn't have good teams. Just as the West had better teams. But even that,
but they're not talking about why the West was so much better, Johnny.
but it doesn't matter how good the West was as far as regular season wise. At that around that same time, it was still just 3 teams or 2 teams in the West that was doing everything. It was San Antonio and LA.
Right.
So you still don't have a parity in the West. Yeah, you got teams winning 50 games. So what does that matter? They're never beating the Lakers or San Antonio.
Right.
So it's like, and while you're in the East, you have every so often you have another team that's coming up. To start off the 2000s, you had Indiana and the Nets and Philadelphia, right? Then by the time you get to the mid 2000s, you end up having teams like Detroit and Miami, and then Cleveland pops up, and then Boston pops up.
Right. I forgot about Boston. I left Boston off the list.
Oh yeah, Orlando pops up. You see what I'm saying? Like you said, then Chicago pops up, then Indiana pops up. You see what I'm trying to say? So it's like you have.
But how many of those teams go to the finals if LeBron's not there?
Yeah. No, but and if you go to the West, right? You start the West. It's San Antonio to start off the 2000 with the Lakers. Who else you have? You have Sacramento, then you have Phoenix, Dallas. These teams come up, but none of them really did anything, right? You know what I'm saying? What other teams is there? Denver. You had Carmelo's Denver team, right? I mean, what other teams can you say? Then even going into, but even when Dallas was going there, it was the Lakers. Who was challenging the Lakers in 2011?
Nobody.
Yeah, what Western Conference team was the team that everybody was saying, oh yeah, this team could threaten the Lakers for the finals? Nobody said no team. Nobody was thinking.
You said what in 2011? Well, no,
Yeah,
actually
2011.
OKC was pretty, but they were still young. So not
the only teams that I remember in the West being really, really good. I can't even say back then. But the teams that I remember in the West being really, really good, well, like you said, you mentioned a couple of them. Denver was good. Let's just take the Lakers and Spurs off the table. We already know what they were.
Wait, but what year you talking about?
I'm talking about when Melo was there.
When Melo, what was that?
That's 2008. That's 2008 Denver team. You had Minnesota that one year.
That's the only one that made it to the Western Conference, right? That's the only time they made it to the Western Conference.
I believe so. But they were good. But then you had like Memphis when they had Zach Randolph. They were good. You see what I'm saying? Like there wasn't a lot of. That's what Utah was
good with.
Utah's always been a tough team, but I can't sit here and say in the 2000s they was really doing much. But they've always been a tough team.
Nah, I wouldn't consider Utah nothing in the 2000s. There's nothing about the Utah team. None of those teams were considered dominant. Memphis, none of those teams. They were winning 50 games here and there, but they were not really dominant teams.
Oh, if you're talking about like championship teams, then it would only really be San
championship contending team, meaning you're in the conference finals or getting to the finals. You have to be up there somewhere.
Yeah, that's the Spurs and the Lakers.
Yeah, because I wouldn't even.
Like I said, you had Denver make the Western Conference Finals. Minnesota made the Western Conference Finals. Phoenix
and ran right into the Lakers or the Spurs.
Dallas, exactly. And ran into one of those two teams and couldn't beat them.
Yeah, and after Dirk won his first chip, he was getting eliminated.
Let me address this right here because this is somebody I grew up with. What up, Punkin? He's talking about Michael Jordan put fear in players' heart and dominated and this nonsense that people, again, this is all nostalgia. It's all lies. It's all myths. Karl Malone said it himself. He wasn't scared of Michael Jordan. I know for a fact Patrick Ewing wasn't scared of Michael Jordan. Nobody was scared of Michael Jordan but Reggie Miller and the Vancouver Grizzlies. And he punked college players and bench players. That's what Michael Jordan did. You don't got no footage of him punking nobody that's an actual star in the league. They got him punking Muggsy Bogues. Are you serious? Like this is what
right.
What's the dude on Vancouver? The dude that was on the bench on Vancouver. He was like, sit down, don't talk no more, punk. Like he never punked nobody on the Knicks. He never punked nobody on Indiana. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He punked his teammates.
I don't know where these guys get this from.
I don't got a problem with his like with what he said. I just got a problem with the last part of his comment with the he's just not the GOAT. It's like I'm fine if you don't have him as your GOAT, but to not even entertain the thought of he could be the GOAT or whatever. That's when it's like there's a huge disconnect.
Yeah, no, they can't accept it. That's somebody I grew up with. That's my homeboy, man. Shout out Pumpkin, my old neighborhood.
But,
we play ball together. We play ball countless nights. So he knows, and he's older than me. So, but he has that nostalgia. It's the nostalgia.
Hey Johnny, when I first came on your platform, what did I sit here and say, bro? I sat here and said it's the nostalgia bias. They love to live in the 90s. Like the 90s. I don't even think that like the 90s was just the pinnacle of basketball. It wasn't. And they act like honestly the like they were more skilled back then than they are now. The only thing they were was more physical. And that's because they allowed it to be physical. But
They
let's
weren't
not
even physical
forget
in the 90s, though.
who complained to the NBA to get the rules changed.
It wasn't even physical
Yeah,
in the
boy.
90s. You couldn't be physical in the 90s. It
Oh, I
cost you.
mean in the 80s. My bad, the 80s.
Yeah, the
Who
80s was
complained?
different.
Who complained? Cried to the NBA. Whose organization complained and cried to the NBA to get the rules changed?
MJ.
Michael Jordan's. Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson and Jerry Krause.
Man, they
But
people
why?
don't want to.
But see, when you say that, you're just hating on Jordan. No, you're just telling the truth.
I'll be a hater then. I'll be the exposer. That's why this is the Friday night exposure. And we expose Michael Jordan lies, man, and myths. That's why they don't want to come on. Because it's a simple conversation, man. Like, and my question is this: does he need all of that to be the GOAT? Can he be the GOAT without that? Because we don't need to bring like fake stuff for LeBron James. Like they make it like us talking about totals is bad. That's an actual stat. We're talking about totals. We're talking about
Right.
stats. Look what you're talking about. You're talking about putting fear in people and
I have a question. How do you not talk about the totals if you're comparing careers?
because Jordan don't have the totals to talk about it.
Exactly.
That's why I don't like talking all NBA. What's the point of talking all NBA when Jordan's nowhere near the top 5?
No, they like talking all NBA,
No,
but
they
only
don't.
all NBA defense.
You could
No,
tell.
all
You could tell
defense is
most of these.
different. Yeah, they'll talk all defense but they only talk first team. They won't talk all defense and totals. Because
If they were to
more than him.
if they were to apply this type of logic in like business, they'll go out of business real quick because I don't know what owner would say, hey, let's not keep
business, boy.
making
Michael Jordan is a $1 billion business, boy.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying in the sense of like making it to the because you know there always excuses. Oh, he losing the NBA finals, but it's like so. Why do you think the owners complain about making it to the finals and getting all that extra money every time they make it? You think they like, oh, you know, like let's not go to the finals, you know, so you don't get that on your resume. Like what?
Well,
That just make and that logic has never made any sense to me. For with a straight face, people will really sit here and say that not going to the finals is better than going to the finals and losing.
yeah,
I
no,
understand they're earning more.
because Jordan didn't go to the finals when he when he didn't want to. Like he only went when he wanted to. He only went and he knew that okay, by 91 I'll be in the finals. I'll be good. He wasn't trying to go in 90.
No, you know what it is though.
89. He wasn't trying to go in 88.
People, I think people.
He was just buying his time, stat padding until 1991 because he knew in 1991 I'll make the finals, and when I get there, y'all, we good. Or you're basically saying Michael Jordan just needed the team to get him there, and once he got there, he was going to win it for you. So until the Bulls built the team that was good enough to make the finals, it wasn't Michael Jordan's responsibility to make the finals. It was just his responsibility to once we get there, we're gonna win it. That's how they talk. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It sounds crazy.
I think is that people rather they rather remember the bad instead of the good. Like when you lose in the finals, like I get it, it hurts, you know, but most people they don't remember the journey getting there. Like it I definitely understand that logic of like, oh, you made like if you played the game, it's like, all right, I made it there, I lost, damn, that hurts. But for some people, it's like they just look at it like they wouldn't understand the feeling of like making it to that point. They just like, oh well, you didn't win it all, and that's it. And I can never respect that logic.
Now, listen, at the end of the day, all sports respect the people who actually qualify for the championship round. Super Bowl teams are celebrated for making the Super Bowl.
That changed.
You know, it never changed, bro. It's always been that way. It only changed because Michael Jordan fans want to change it. And there's so many of them that it seems like that's what it is, but that ain't what it is, man. But that's why we got GOAT James Kingdom. That's why you got me, the exposer. I will expose all of that nonsense, man, because we too grown to be believing these Santa Claus myths anymore, man. We too grown for this.
Speaking of myths, talk to me about Wilt.
Oh man, now, we're gonna have to leave that for next week, man, because I'm gonna get going. That's cool. You know, we've been on for a good time, and I appreciate y'all boys coming on, man, because you know it's great having a conversation and really feel like.
I ain't been up in a while, bro. Had to come.
It's all love. Listen, we're gonna be live again this Sunday. We might talk the CBA contracts, and it's kind of hard. I've been trying to been spending a week trying to understand that stuff, but it's, we'll see what we can do then. But we're gonna come up with our top 50 greatest of all time. It's gonna be an official top 50 for GOAT James Kingdom between Brandon and I. So we're gonna be live Sunday, man. Shout out to everybody in the comments. Shout out to Twin Man and Crash for joining me tonight. And like you can see, they're scared of me. They do not want these one-on-ones, brother. They're not ready to talk basketball. But I appreciate
good times too. These is very good times for debates. So I don't know why they not here.
Not because I got them recorded. They know that I'm recording.
I'm gonna be real. Those Sundays, y'all had the Jordan fan on there to try to explain why Jordan was the GOAT. It was embarrassing for Jordan fans. I'm being real.
It's still open. We're still open to it. Again, we're still allowing people to 5 minutes. We don't listen. Brandon and I are not afraid of none. As you can see, we are ready. We have all the information ready for anybody at any time. We can do this all day, every day. We are GOAT James Kingdom. I'm Ajani Bakari, the Exposer. Brandon will be back on Sunday. And I'll see y'all next Friday, man. Y'all want, we're going to talk Wilt Chamberlain. And we can get down for sure, man. Appreciate you, Twin Man. Thanks, man. So
everybody.
I'm going to get up out of here, man. Y'all be good. Shout out to everybody in the comments. All the members, hit the subscribe, the like buttons. Share the content. Everybody on Facebook, man. Appreciate y'all for keeping up with GOAT James Kingdom. I'm Ajani, the Exposer. This was Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. Y'all boys have a good night, man. Everybody enjoy their weekend. Be safe. Stay blessed. Stay beautiful. See y'all Sunday. GOAT James Kingdom, y'all.